Hi, good morning. So we
Good morning, everyone.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Let me wait for others more participants to come in before actually we start our webinars today. So maybe I wait for another minute more before actually we start. Is there anyone actually on the way to coming in, right? Should I say on the way or somehow? Okay. Okay, good morning, everyone. Let me start today's webinars on hiring engineering graduates, opportunities and challenges. It's a collaborations of SME Association Malaysia and also Kabel. I would say it's a launching pad of the fresh graduates. It's an app to actually help the graduates to match with the employers. So today we have a webinar to discuss one or some of the topics whereby it's focused on engineering graduates. So as you know, the economy deployments, developments and digital transformations, definitely we demand more engineers to actually to help the country to grow for the recent year. But yet many, as usual, like other industry as well, we always facing that some of the employer cannot find the suitable candidate and some of the graduate cannot get job. So however, therefore, we organize a webinar. Maybe we can actually discuss on how actually we can overcome the challenge. So the challenge and opportunity to hiring Gen Z engineering graduate into the workforce. And also number two is understand and what matter to engineering graduate and their key concerns. That means that graduate have different concerns, the employer have different challenges. So at the end, we hope that via this webinar, we can have some idea on and strategic approach to attract and hire engineering graduates. So today with us, we have three panelists. Before that, I would like to introduce the SecGen of SME Association Malaysia, Mr. Chin. Mr. Chin, maybe you can raise your hand. Start there. I think he offline there. However, let me introduce others, the panelists today. So we have the three very powerful panelists to be us. Number one, actually from Associate Professor Dr. Siti Aminah Osman. She is a Deputy Dean of Networking and Alumni for Engineering Faculties in UK. So she has more than 20 years of experience in teaching, training, research, publications, and administrations. A member of Board of Engineering Malaysia, BEM, and also Society of Engineering Education Malaysia, SEEM. So she is actively involved in research and on structural dynamic of earthquake and wind loading, industrial building system, IBS is one of the hotcake recent years to building the high buildings and also engineering educations. So she is an educator at the same time involved in industry. So I think she has wise knowledge to how we match the industry and also the academic institutions. The second one is we have Rachel Toh. Hi, Rachel. So she is a senior manager in the corporate training and learning of Selangor HDRC. So has been 20-year working experience in SHDRC in various departments and expertise. So their strength is training organizations, training analysts, and design, program management, and business developments. So this is some of the background on Ms. Rachel. And the third one we have is Camelia Loh, founder of CEO of Kabel. So she has 17 years of experience in multiple industries, from pharmaceuticals to communication to automobile and plantation, where really it seems like she covered everything. So she's very experienced business persons and come to also founders of Kabel, whereby a platform to actually to help to match the students, the job seeker with the employer. So Camelia founded Kabel, a Tinder-like job matching app that connect hires and Gen Z job seeker to align role and expectations before hiring take place. So they prolong the interview process. I mean, before the interview, you can actually have a chatting first before actually meeting. Okay, just now Mr. Jin is actually offline. I think the line is cutting off. Yeah, we also have Mr. Jin, Mr. Jin Jishong. He's a SME Association of Malaysia, Center of the SME Association of Malaysia. So, Mr. Jin, hi.
Morning. Hi.
So before we start, we would like to we want to invite Mr. Jin to actually deliver opening speech before. Yeah. Over to you, Mr. Jin.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Eng, and thank you for all to attend this morning event, especially the three very what you call charming and marvelous speaker, Camelia Loh, Rachel, as well as our associate professor, Dr. Siti Aminah Osman. Thanks for being here to have this webinar together with our SME, initiative. As always, we want to do to help not only our own members, but also to help in general the situation we face by all the businesses in our country. SME Malaysia is formed in 1995. We have been here for a long time, and we have close to 10,000 members over the 15 branches nationwide. And we do have some other association that join us. Means that we have associations such as Malaysia Cross Border, PICOM, Persatuan Industri Komputer Malaysia, and some other association. They are dealing with the majority of their members as SME. They do join us, and we have many activities this year. This is one of those. I think we have our initiative working on very much with the university. We are trying to, Mr. Eng has very big task to do. We want to sign up with all the university in Malaysia as our partner, which I believe this kind of initiative will definitely bring a lot of benefit to both the businesses and also the graduates or undergraduates of Malaysia. I think today we see that a lot of mismatch, right? There's a lot of mismatch whereby I myself personally have a report from Pekeso. I sit in the Pekeso, one of the subcommittee board, and we have always constantly report. There are a lot of jobs in the market, but there are still a lot of undergraduates that's out of job. The graduates that's out of jobs. So there is something that is pretty hard to accept, especially when we're trying to lure investors from overseas to come into Malaysia, and they feel that Malaysia have not enough graduates to help them. But no, we have number of graduates graduate every year. There's a lot, but why there's a mismatch? So I think today's seminar will be great for all to share, right? And we believe we have enough good, really experienced entrepreneur and also academician, to help us to analyze and to see what can we do, and also on association side, we see what can we come up with out of this webinar. We will collect those suggestions and those things that are put it up, and we will bring it up to MOHR, MOHE, the Higher Education Ministry, because we have a lot of our council members sit in those committees that we can bring our voice to them. So thanks again, and then thank you for all being here with us this morning. I think to start 9 o'clock webinar is difficult, and it's not easy to carry one in early morning. I think like this is first time I did a webinar at 9 o'clock. So thank you again, everybody. I believe we will have a good session. I think besides having this webinar, we will also share in our Facebook, right? And if you miss it, if those who can, we can even introduce those friends to come and have a look at our webinar through our Facebook. Right. Thank you very much, and have a very good morning, a very good session. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Mr. Chin.
Thank you, Mr. Chin. So the next one, actually, what we want to do, we do some scoopings and to have a pool to understand the audience before we can start the webinars. Yeah. Over to the. So after hi the audience, maybe you can answer the questions, the pool, then so that we can know you better before we have we start the webinars. A bit means a bit slow the pool, but maybe with this more time for everyone to have a chance to do this yeah. Okay, I think if some of them is not answering, but I think it's okay. Let we move on. Before we start the webinars, let me play a videos to share some of the current situations of Malaysia engineering graduates hirings process. Yeah, please.
Kesukaran mendapat pekerjaan dalam bidang yang dipelajari, ramai anak muda beralih arah ke bidang lain untuk menyara kehidupan selepas tamat pengajian. Pada suku pertama 2019, statistik Jabatan Perangkaan Malaysia merekodkan lebih 500,000 penganggur. Daripada jumlah itu, lebih 230,000 merupakan graduan. Amirul Syakir Anwar berusia 24 tahun merupakan salah seorang graduan kejuruteraan yang menganggur hampir 5 bulan. Beliau sama sekali tidak menyangka penat lelah 5 tahun demi segurung ijazah berakhir sebagai penghantar makanan sebuah aplikasi popular, Foodpanda. Graduan lulusan ijazah kejuruteraan pesawat Universiti Kuala Lumpur ini bagaimanapun tidak putus asa untuk mencari rezeki yang halal.
Saya fikir tak tahu bila nak dapat interview. Saya datang sini saya telah cari kerja dekat mall, kerja promoter. Saya minta jadi promoter dekat mall. Dia tanyalah nak full time, part time. Saya cakap nak full time dulu. Lepas tu dia orang tanya berapa lama nak kerja. Yang tu saya tak boleh nak bagi tahu sebab interview pun tak tahu bila nak panggil kan. Saya cakap saya tak tahu. Dia pun cakap kita orang kalau boleh nak yang nak lama, tak nak yang kejap-kejap. Saya try minta ke tempat lain pula. Minta tempat yang berkaitan macam cek kereta, mechanical kan. Lepas tu saya tanya balik macam mana Rizal dia. Dia cakap bos tak nak sebab overqualified. Tu saya buat keputusan kerja food panda lah senang. Ada motor, ada lesen, dia boleh jalan. Saya sebenarnya tak kisah kerja apa sebab memang dah banyak tempat saya minta. Saya tengok yang minimum qualification pun ada yang gaji 1,100 pun saya minta janji dapat kerja. Tapi itulah bila kita minta yang rendah, dia orang cakap overqualified. Bila kita minta yang startup, dia nakkan experience. Itu masalahnya. Jadi fikir tak apalah buat ni lah senang sementara menunggu. Mungkin belum ada rezeki lagi. Kita kena banyakkan peluang pekerjaan kepada anak muda lah. Sebab kita nak masuk kerja kena ada experience. Tapi bila tak diberi peluang untuk kerja, macam mana kita nak dapat experience? Dan terpaksalah cari experience macam ni tepi-tepi jalan. Baik cari duit sendiri juga boleh kurangkan beban family daripada menunggu bila nak sampai. Orang masa tu kita boleh manfaatkan daripada duduk saja duit habis.
Untuk mengatasi isu graduan menganggur, bekas NAB Chancellor Universiti Teknologi Mara UiTM, Dr. Sahul Hamid Abu Bakar mencadangkan pihak universiti terutamanya bidang kejuruteraan perlu bekerjasama dengan industri berkaitan. Dr. Sahul yang kini merupakan NAB Chancellor di sebuah universiti di Chennai, India berkata, pelajar bidang kejuruteraan tidak memenuhi keperluan industri.
Yeah, this is the videos that we like to share. Some of the current situations, you can see that actually there is a big mismatch within the graduates and also it's the job that actually out there in the markets. Definitely, this is a very serious issue whereby we would like to see how what this can happen and how actually we can resolve it. To be honest, myself personally, I also hired a driver before, whereby he also a graduate, but couldn't find a suitable job and end up the interview for company drivers. So definitely, we can actually when I communicate with him, definitely he actually with a very good attitude and also very knowledgeable. But just somehow they couldn't find a job that actually suitable to them. Okay, the first question I would like to pose it to Professor Dr. Siti. Actually, what's the number of engineering graduates that Malaysia produce in a year? So how many % them actually unemployed and how many % that actually get a job related to engineering, what they study basically? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ng, and good morning to all the audience here. Actually, based on Mr. Chin mentioned just now, yes, we have a large pool of graduates from engineering. So based on data given by the KPT or MOHI, statistic from 1997 to 2020, last 2 years back, the average of graduates from engineering every year, we are producing around 60,000 for every year. So altogether from all the universities, since 1997 to 2020, we can say around 400,000 graduates from engineering background. So we can see there are a very large pool of graduates from that field. As for UKM, our faculty, we can see that almost 12,000, more than 12,000 been producing. We've been produced since 1986, until last year. So for our UKM also is almost 12,000, more than 12,000. So these numbers actually cover for bachelor degree and then master's degree and PhD. Yeah? So we can see that there are a big number of that. And based on another question given by Mr. Ng just now, the statistic of unemployed. Yeah? So statistic of labor, based on April 2022, the unemployment rate is around 3.9% for the whole Malaysia. But before that, I mean, during the COVID, it was much higher. But now we can see that the economy is getting better. So the unemployment rate is going down around 3.9%. So for our faculty, I'm not talking about the other university, because the data from each university, they keep by themselves. So if we want to know data from other university, so we have to request from the KPT or from the MOHI. But for our faculty, our GE, our graduate employability rate is quite higher. It's around 96.6% for degree holder. This data was, until June, this month, June 2022. So for postgraduate is around 93%. And the average I can say for both postgraduate and undergraduate, which is around 95%. So for UKM, we are in a good condition. And so, and I think last week we received an award from Talent Corp. We have been nominated as top 3 universities that been preferred for the GE. But the unemployed data for our faculty is 3.4% based on the total numbers of the graduates. And then another questions, how many percent of engineering related jobs? So for our faculty, for the whole data from Malaysia, yes, we can see there is a big number, the graduates from engineering not working in their field, mismatch of the job. But for our faculty, we can see around 86% of our graduates are working in their own field. Only 14% are not working in their field. So this data was based, this is the latest data, based on June 2022. I think I can answer that for
Thank you, Prof. Siti. So hearing from that, actually the number actually quite encouraging. So most of them actually get a job and also they are matched. Most are more than 85, over % actually match what they are actually studying. Actually quite encouraging. However, maybe I would like to pose a question to Rachel. What are some of the gaps that you see between the industry need and also existing skill set of the graduates? For those lately cannot match, so maybe there is some of the crew there, is it?
Yeah. So like a university student, they spend 4 years doing their engineering or their degree, right? But industry, they change so fast. You know, today I'm doing Python, tomorrow is low code coding, and next day is AI. So how do we keep up? So there is definitely a mismatch. And industry, honestly, they cannot wait. You know, they always say, I want the talent today, and I want the talent to be skilled. But then there must be a balance, right? So companies must also understand, if you say you're interviewing a fresh graduate and you say he has no experience, but if you don't give him a chance, how is he going to get the experience? All right. But likewise for a degree holder, let's say you just finished, if your mindset has a continuous learning, you're curious, you want to learn, because from your foundation, let's say you learn C++ in your engineering, right, degree, that is a very good foundation. And when you want to learn Python, which is one of the latest languages now in IT, right, you can pick up very easily. And nowadays, let's say a mechanical engineer, he can also do AI or data science because it's cross multidisciplinary. All right. So there is a gap, but we can always marry this bridge. We can marry this bridge. And that is what SHRDC's role is about. We bridge graduates' needs to the industry's demand. Yeah, so we run very short apprenticeship programs. So in a way for them to gain real skills, especially like they can have hands-on in PLC, hands-on in programming. They can learn this like in 2 months, and after that we feed them to the industry. So this will answer your question on the gaps that we see from graduates and the industry.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Definitely, continuous learning is the key words for current graduates. So we are not, I mean, the learning process doesn't stop when they actually graduated. So yeah, the technology changed lately very fast. Myself actually in the technology industry, every 3 months you can see a new languages whereby it's good in something else. Is how actually you can use this actually to plan it to the job. Okay, so the third question I would like to pose is to Camelia. So every time everybody can actually share some idea before we actually moving on. So what's the common challenge that employers or the recruitment industry face when hiring engineering graduates?
Okay, thank you for the question,
I think,
and to Prof. Siti. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can, right? Okay, thanks for the question. Right, so I think that the statistics actually shared by Prof. Siti is pretty much encouraging, but we are actually looking at, across all industries and the recruitment trend. Actually, engineering positions are one of the hardest to fill, right? One of the hardest to fill. It's hard to actually get engineering companies to get qualified applicants to apply for their jobs. And typically what they tell us is that when they put out a job, they usually get tons of application, but very hard to get a qualified or relevant one. Yeah, so when they do, and then, if they ever do find a candidate that they see a potential, then the next question usually that pops out is that, how hardy is this candidate? Are they willing to work in that harsh environment, so-called, under the hot sun, get their hands dirty in the manufacturing floor, or are they willing to even work shifts over the weekend? So these requirements, are really not easy to fulfill at all, especially with the younger generation. So even when, they hire this person, sometimes the retention is a problem. So, they come and go and all that. So, but I want to actually bring up one thing. I find that the employers in the engineering field do not really, emphasize on marketing themselves to attract the talents. It's quite a challenge for the students to relate to the brands as compared to consumer-related businesses. Like, if you were to put up for example, Nescafe ice cream or Nestle ice cream, everybody would know, because they consume them. But usually with engineering firms, they are, B2B business, and unless you're dealing with them, you will probably never have heard of them, right? So marketing is a very key important element in today's world with the Gen Zs because they consume everything via social media, right? So you see how SpaceX and Tesla, for example, are the two top most attractive company for engineering students in the United States. So we have to consider why, right? Everybody knows about the demanding work environment is working with these two companies. But Elon Musk, has a compelling vision, right? They basically do challenge themselves in problem solving in the organization, and that's how normally he attracts the same talent. Today's Gen Z is about actually working towards the same purpose. So this needs to actually be marketed out in the eyes of the Gen Zs to attract them. Same goes for Apple when Steve Jobs tried to recruit John Sculley from Pepsi, right? Who doesn't know Pepsi, correct? But Steve Jobs told him, do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life? Or do you want to come with me and change the world? Yeah, so this is a very powerful statement, and this is something that the business leaders or HR representatives of companies, engineering companies, need to know, that branding is actually very important. Now, I understand that not every company can be SpaceX or Tesla or even Apple, but the company vision and the company branding are really important if you want to attract the right talent. So, many engineering companies focus on telling people, to do the task lah, right? But they don't tell them why is it actually worthwhile working for us, right? For example, instead of telling somebody you hire him to lay brick, you can tell him that we're building a hospital that can save many lives. So this is one of the difference, right? And that would basically make a very good spin to inspire them with purpose and to make them more dedicated to work. If I have more time, can
Yeah, please. You
yeah,
can continue.
and another one more thing that I like to highlight on is basically on the salary expectation. Yeah, so more like on the challenges from graduate side and not so much for employer, right? And the truth is that these graduates do compare their work environment and salary amongst their friends, right? They consider their field to be in a very high skill professional field, right? But that does not actually reflect that on the work condition, and which is far worse actually than compared to any of the friends working in the office, with aircon environment and all that. Having said that, I find that many of the graduates are actually highly passionate about engineering, but due to misalignment of their expectations, they choose to do something else, that can pay them well and even provide them with a better career path, although this is something that they're not so passionate about. Yeah, so this is basically my take and my observation from the employer side. Yeah.
Thank you, Camelia. So is it at first we talk about mismatch, right? Somehow then we hear from Prof Siti that actually most of it actually more than 85% actually get that job actually in that particular field. But somehow the employer, I mean, I'm from the associations, we also feeling some issue on, we couldn't get the right candidate. Maybe now I would like to pose a question to Prof Siti, especially on, is it we produce too little engineers so that we cannot fulfill the industry need, or we produce the quality of the engineers that actually not really meet the requirements, requirement of employers. So maybe Prof Siti can share with us the challenge of it, how actually graduates can actually find some job to match their studies, their study, or we actually produce too little.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ng, for the questions. Yeah, as mentioned by Mr. Chin, we have a large pool of number, and also based on the data given by the MOHI, we have around 400,000 of graduates engineers from abroad and also from local university. So they have to to challenge. This is very competitive time to get a job. But based on the chit chat from our students, what is the challenge that they face when they are looking for a job? So I can say, based on their discussion with the student, we can finally summarize. There are 5 things. The challenge that they face is that the first one, as mentioned by Camelia just now, salary. Most of the fresh graduate students, graduates from engineering, they are worried about the salary. This is the critical issues that they've been faced, because the salary being offered by the industry is quite low compared to the other field of background, because like in engineering, they have the burden of the hectic study life during in the university is quite challenging, quite difficult. So when they go out and then suddenly they have the average income is around 2,500. So this data, I'm not talking without any data, because the data was given by the KPTA, by the MOHI. Actually, the large pool of salaries for undergraduate is between 2.5 to 3,000 per month. This is around, I'm talking about the engineering graduate from our faculty. So this is around 21.4%, the average income for the engineering graduates. Others might be below than that. So this is the first challenge that the student Gen Z face when looking for a job. And then the second challenge is that the skill and experience mentioned by Rachel just now. So many companies are looking for fresh graduate, but they expect to be fully equipped with right skills, knowledge to the company. As in the university, we can only provide the fundamental part, the theory part. But on top of that, also we try now, lately we are trying collaborate with the industry to provide a professional certificate to the students. We have been working with HRDCs also, and many other industry like Siemens, MIDA, to equip the student with professional skills so that they can meet the latest demand from the industry. So the third challenge that we can, based on the student perspective, is that now they are, delay in job hunting, because nowadays most of the students, they want to take a break. I don't know, because this is Gen Z, but our time, last time, once we graduate, we instantly we stay away, try to find a job. But this Gen Z, they are prefer to take a break. I think maybe because they are hectic study in the university, so they prefer to take a break after their graduation. Sometimes they take a break more than 5 months, more than 1 year. Yeah, it depends on the background of the family lah, the graduates. And then the fourth point is that type of job or companies. So the new generation of graduates nowadays are too picky about their job. And as mentioned by Camelia, they want to have a better surrounding, better environment, working in a cool place, in air condition. So this is one of the problems that been faced by the students, by the graduates. And then the last one, of course, the location of the company. Some of the graduates, they are preferred to have a work, just nearby their hometown. Maybe one of the factors is that the higher cost of living nowadays. So if they stay with the parents, so they can cut costs. So that's why they are also try to select the location of the company to their parents' hometown. I think there are 5 points that I can say based on our chit chat with the graduates, from the alumni, with the final year students and so on. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Prof. It seems like now the Gen Z mentality is one of the challenges that the employer face, how to actually match with them, not only the skill. So look at it, actually, the other way around is no longer actually someone actually apply for a job, but actually they're looking for matching. Yeah, so this is a challenge. When it comes to matching, definitely a lot of adjustment we need is in terms of skill set they have, in terms of the attitudes and somehow the pay of the salary. Some of the employer not willing to pay so high, so on due to the cost. Okay, however, engineer definitely is part of the important resources that we need, especially when the company and the industry and the country moving towards to IR 4.0. Yeah, so we got no choice. We are limited labels. Everyone is educated. Everyone actually graduates. It's a good sign for the country to be moving forwards. So I would like to ask maybe Rachel can share with us what kind of valuable skills that actually engineering graduates that should gain actually in order to fulfill the requirements of IR 4.0, especially in the fast change era.
Yeah, so I want to emphasize again that after you finish your degree, right, it's not, I stopped learning anymore, okay? Basically, when you finish your degree, it's the start of your career, and you must continue to learn and know what is out there, especially in your path. So you have to continue to read, to explore, be curious. And if you're engineering, one of the things that we are talking about these days is like artificial intelligence. We are talking about IR 4.0 digitization. IR 4.0, I hope you all know that is Industrial Revolution 4.0. automation, and so on. So as a graduate, you will feel that, yeah, I want to go in there, but I don't have experience. So macam chicken and egg like that, right? I want to employ you, but you don't have the skills. So how do I get the skills? Okay. So one of the many initiatives that the government is doing, the university is doing, or SHRDC is doing is through, number one is short courses. So these short courses, you have to explore. You just have to search online who is offering what type of courses. Is it free? Is it maybe you pay a little bit of money? You can find this, all right? But you will ask yourself, what should I search for? So that comes back to what you want to do. Okay, so if you are engineering in mechanical or electrical, you will want to look at things like artificial intelligence or IR 4.0. Then you start searching. Okay, searching who provide all this, who can give me the hands-on learning, the hands-on experience. So these short courses, it could be a professional cert, that will be a advantage, or it could be just a short course for you to gain the experience. So that is number one. Number two, a lot of industries, they also realize, the bigger players, right? They also realize that it's also hard to find fresh engineers. So what they have come up with is called the graduate trainee program, or sometimes they use the word apprenticeship scheme. Okay, so apprenticeship scheme originated from German, whereby people learn and study, people work and study at the same time. So meaning, as a fresh graduate, you think that I have no experience, go and look for apprenticeship programs. Or some companies, they label them as a graduate employability program, and usually it's 6 months or 1 year or 2 years. And from there, don't think that it's learning. You are actually on the job. You are actually hands-on in their factory or in their oil rig, or in the doing system integration. You will be learning all things. Okay, and that's the time also where you can learn, try and error, make mistakes. And this also provides an opportunity for the employer to evaluate your performance. So these apprenticeship schemes are available. There are many. I believe UKM does it under the KPT program. SHRDC also do it. We have funded from various ministries. So like SHRDC, if you are engineering graduate and you cannot find a job today, perhaps you want to join us for 2 months. All right, it's 100% subsidized, whereby we are in area of electrical, in AI, in data science, and in ICT. All right, these are the areas that we have. And after 2 months, we will match you with an industry for you to work for. Okay, so these companies, they want you because we will already give you up-to-date skills, up-to-date knowledge and information. So you just have to go to the company and then, practice and so on. So these are some of the initiatives. But on the other hand, we also hope that, like what Camelia had mentioned, from the employer side of view, perhaps for fresh graduates, right, you all can lower your expectation. Don't think that once they graduate they know everything, and or once they graduate I want them to just do production work. Production work, yes, it's just maybe 1 month for them to familiarize the factory, but they cannot be continuing doing production work. You have to give them challenges, things that will attract them to stay in your organization. Yeah, so let me just give you one example, which I personally did. It was the timber industry. So timber industry, nobody wants to work there, okay? But there is a huge job market for engineers in timber industry, but it's very hot. There's no aircon, and they call it the 3D job, right? Dirty, dangerous, and dusty, okay? Because when you go in, right, you really have to be very fit to be in that industry, and not necessarily they just chop woods or saw woods and all. They make furnitures. And in fact, you know, SHRDs are not the timber industry, right? Have the biggest export of furnitures, one of our top export, right? So nobody wants to go. So what I did was I find graduates to learn about timber industry, you know, so they have to learn what is timber, give them IR 4.0 skills. At the same time, I also tell the employers, you have to make your factory attractive again. You cannot just be doing manual work. If you are a manual company, why do you need an engineer? You just need some maybe foreign worker or some production operator. That's it. But if the factory start to automate, he wants to transform his legacy machine, able to do data collection, do machine visualization. That means from your handphone, you can view what's my production, what is my OEE rate, you know, what is my wastage. These are the things that will attract engineers, because cabaran is challenging for the engineers, so they want to stay. All right, so that is one portion. Besides that, of course, there's still the salary and so on. All right, but again, employer also listen to us, so they also raise. So now, like all the timber industry, they are paying their engineers 2.5 and above, for sure, because we have told them that if anything lower, you wouldn't get them. So it also has to be a balance. So as I conclude, SHRDC, we do have all these gap programs where y'all can explore. So just go Google and search for the information you need. Okay?
Yeah, then Rachel, seems like we can understand that from SHRD. See, you have many programs whereby they actually can help the fresh grad to actually embark to their careers.
Yes.
Right? So yeah. So I'd like to ask to understand. I do understand that Cable actually to helping the employer to as a platform to actually helping employer to attract the right talents. Yeah. So maybe Camelia, you can share with us how actually in this new era, new way of interview, new way of actually getting matching, how your app actually can help to actually the employers to get the right talents and also the engineer students to get the right job. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the question. So if I may add to, you know, what Rachel actually said earlier, right, about making your organization or your manufacturing facilities cool. You know, this is what all engineers want, actually, right? And so if they scout around your work environment, they try it out, and then for 2 months, then they find that everything is so done manually and nothing can be trackable, right? It's going to be posing quite a big problem. So that's basically on the working with, you know, cool organizations, yeah? So coming back to Cable and all that, you know, it basically, we built this to cater to, you know, Generation Z and how they normally react to basically platforms, right? So Cable is not a, you know, traditional job advertisement portal, right? We make it simple, interactive, and possibly getting your, you know, information or your results fast. So what you can do is actually, remember I mentioned about something to do with marketing, right? Marketing about your vision, marketing your company and all that. So you can actually use Cable, right, to do short pitches to tell the candidates about the job and why they should join you and not the timber company across the road, right? And you can also use this because how Gen Zs actually consume information right now is basically using all those rich media, right? Which means photos, pictures, videos, and all that. So you can use Cable as a platform to put up, you know, company's mission, your products, your services, photos, videos of the company so that they can remember and they can stick. Now, remember, Gen Zs have got very short attention span. Is even now to the state that, you know, I don't know whether it's a joke, like they say that it's even shorter than goldfish memory. So goldfish is 9 seconds, right? Gen Z's is about like 8 seconds right now, right? Because of the type of social media that consume, right? They're not even available on, they're not even on Facebook now. They move on to TikTok and Reel and all that. And this is how they learn, right? So just a point, basically market your company well and follow basically the, you know, the types of trends that is going on right now. And another thing is that graduate wants to know what they will learn, by joining your organization and how they will progress in your organization. So career path is actually very important to them. So when you post up a job on Kabel, you can state that they will potentially learn certain skills in your organization to attract them. Now, Gen Zs are actually quite unique basically generation, and it's nothing wrong with that. Every other generations will have that uniqueness, right? So Gen Zs are the type that will basically try out, different groups to basically along the way build up their skills to build their individual personality. So don't be surprised that they come to your organization, they learn things, and then they quickly move on to the next. And that's a fact, right? And that's why they always say that, I prefer to be in an environment that is diverse and it's inclusive. So the reason why is because they want that kind of exposure. They want to learn from actually different groups, different ways of actually how things are being done, but they are driven very similar to the millennial. They are driven by purpose and belief. So the core value, basically your selling of the vision is actually very important to them. They want to have dialogues with you, in order how to save the world, that kind of approach. Yeah. So Kabel provides you basically that platform to actually shout it out to them directly. So so that's the part that is basically we make it interactive, where there is actually a chat feature for the hirer and the job seekers to message each other, to ask questions, build relationships, because they're known to be dialoguers. Yeah, these Gen Zs, they want to actually come to you and ask a lot of questions, build meaningful relationships before they meet up in person with you. Minimal investment in time meeting up with you, but with a with a maximum result. So today's young generation want instant connection. They have very short attention span, right? And they want to know also why your organization. Why should I be actually reporting to you as my hiring manager? Can I actually learn more from you? So in general, Kabel is built to actually close the gap so that you can make them see the value of the role to convince them to join you. Now it's gone are the days that is actually the employer's market. Yeah, gone. So that's why we hear of employers posting up jobs. There are plenty of jobs, but why is it that there's no employees actually or job seekers applying for a job? And this is one of the reasons why. Simply because the existing job portal does not match how their lifestyle or how they actually behave on a digital format. Yeah. So Kabel is actually made available for even engineering students especially, to make it more interactive. So pay attention on basically selling your vision, having it interactive, speaking to them fast. Yeah, so hope that answers to your question, Mr. Eng.
Thank you, Camelia. So other than that, the participants, you all can actually share your questions in the Q&A chat box, or also the chat box. There means two ways of it. Okay. Before we actually moving on, maybe we can actually now moving forward to Q&A sessions, whereby we can actually share some of the questions from the participants, then to pose some question to the panelists, to actually to have a easy discussions on the issue of that. Yeah, I see from the chat box is about the work from home case. Everyone now after the pandemic work from home. As for engineering job, so is it feasible to actually work from home, or how we can manage this new norm of workings environments that actually the Gen Z requires is more whereby it's more flexibility. Maybe you can share with us, any one of you.
Yeah, can I just take that question? Yeah, can I just take that question a bit, right? So I think the work from home concept is basically quite it's feasible for non-engineering type of positions, right? Roles and whatnot. But the concept of work from home actually derived from, being why they should be in the office, right? I don't think that they, in terms of the graduates wise, I don't think that they are picky about whether they want to work from home or not is being, why should I be in the office if there's no reason? So, but of course, if there's a reason, right, by the employers to say like, okay, you need to work, you need to come because, the machine needs you, for example, right? I don't think that they will have an issue to be there in the first place. Hence, the question of work from home does not really exist. So you need to create the why, the purpose that you need to come to the office. Yeah, so that's from my end.
I think this mainly is on the flexibility instead of actually work from home. Definitely, if you like, just now Rachel just shared with us, if you actually the company, engineering company, up to the levels, it's the jobs need them to be on site, have the challenges. Definitely, they will actually love to actually go to office to do their work. If just they continue go there to actually on the productions, maybe they will feel that a little bit bored and also not so carry weight for them to work with the company. Yeah, right. Besides that, I see another question is that this one I think Rachel can help to answer since she actually it should be from a GLC. There should be more check and balance between the government support towards job opportunity as well as keep up high standard on qualifying an engineer. Let me say that how the government do the check and balance, to create the job opportunity at the same time to keep up the high quality of engineer. Yeah.
Yeah, actually this, to answer this, right, it actually involves a lot of things, including policy making and so on. But what I would like to emphasize is our, employability comes from the industries, right? So if there's no industries, there's no job, right? So from a graduate point of view is we must look for a job. We have to try, if this don't work, try another way. If I've been, some say I've been applying for this job for so long, why I cannot get? Then ask yourself, is my resume written correctly, or did I use this maybe I use this platform, is not working, or maybe am I too picky? But in terms of industry, I would say for yourself, like, as long you are up to date, you know what you want, right? I'm sure you can find a job, especially you are a fresh graduate. And you don't say that, oh yeah, I want a glamorous job, I want to work in Petronas, those big names. I would say you work as a fresh graduate first. After 3 years, you tell me you want to work in those ExxonMobil or big companies, go ahead, you already have the experience that you want. All right. So everybody plays a role. As a graduate, you play a role, and employers, as we have already mentioned quite a number of times, employers, you also play a role. Don't be the boss, the old-fashioned type that everything is work. Strike a balance. Have a nice work culture in the factory and so on. Yeah, but if this question to answer back into the policy making, all that, I don't think I want to go into that. It is not applicable or suitable to be shared here. All right. But in terms of student and employers, each of us have to play a role, and you keep up to date. Yeah, because remember, in a country, right, we need the industries to grow. We don't want HP to move to Vietnam, or some SMEs going to China because production is lower and is cheaper. We don't want that. All right. And one of the ways is, we have to evolve, and we have to put in new things, learn new things, and keep updated. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. I see there is questions post up. It's quite straightforward, but yet it's quite interesting as well. Okay, the question is sound like this. If you want to recruit a productions engineer, okay, which one is suitable to me to recruit that related to IR 4.0? So everybody mentioned about IR 4.0. Then production engineer actually is a conventional positions that actually every factory that needed, right? So how the university graduates, it's the project produced by the university can match this IFR 4.0. What kind of maybe new courses that we're not aware of it that actually directly address the IFR 4.0 requirements. Maybe Prof. Siti can share with us.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ng. Okay, about producing the graduates, which match with the for IR 4.0, is that nowadays we are trying to embed some of the courses that in the university that we offer. We already embedded some portion of for IR, the IR 4.0, and on top of that also we do have collaboration with industry. That's why one of the initiative that been taken up by the university nowadays is that we have the industrial academia collaboration. So this is one of the initiative by the university. So we do invite university, we do invite industry to come to the university, especially our faculty, to have a collaboration, doing research together. And on top of that also, we have a professional program, professional certificate program to the graduates or the alumni or the final year student to have this certificate so that they can easily meet the industry needs, especially for the IR 4.0. Of course, we also have this subject, but I'm sure this is not, really can cover all the demands from the industry. So the other portions that we can have also to invite the industry to have a project together, the research project together, so that we can have one supervisor from university and another supervisor from the industry. So at the end of the study, the graduate, the students can easily absorb to your company and ready-made. The talent is already ready to work with your industry. So I'm always welcome to the industry to come to the faculty. You can you can approach me. The portfolio under my position is that networking industry. So you can easily contact me so we can have a kick-off meeting together. And this is a part of industry academia collaborations. And on top of that also, we do invite industry to come to our career day in the faculty so that you can easily grab the best students from the final year graduates, the final year studies, final year students. Yeah,
if I may add just a little bit. So in IR 4.0, right, so it's mainly started in factories. So for fresh engineer, you may not have any idea. If let's say you just graduated during the pandemic, you definitely didn't have an internship at the factory at all, probably. You cannot visualize, what is working like in a factory. So, but the basic skills will be something like, hydraulic, pneumatic, PLCs, IoT sensoring and connections. These will be some of the very fundamental IR 4.0 skills that you will need, and you will need to learn the hands-on portion. So as an engineer, right, where can you learn all this? Or how can you be exposed to all this? Is you can also visit a lot of exhibitions that are organized throughout the country. Like one of them is Metal Tech, is like a very, very big engineering exhibition. You go there, you can expose yourself, you can see what is new, what technology people is bringing in, what people are going to use, because in those type of places, companies also go there to see what new machines they want to invest or what system integration they want to do. People like fresh grad, you can go there to expose yourself. So this is one way, besides having those training and so on, that I want to add.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. There are some questions actually posting up. Some of it actually I can see that is already answered by the panelists during just now the panelist question answer. So maybe later when we do a summary, we can actually repeat again. But however, there is a questions. This one actually for everyone. Yeah, this one everyone. You know, what is the? I mean, everyone, our panelists can give some ideas or not. I mean, some point on it. Whereby, what is your biggest tips for the fresh grad to start a career in engineering? Maybe we can start with. Camelia, you want to start with this, or
Okay,
what's the bigger tips? I mean, give them some tips how actually they can start their job in career in engineering.
Yeah, so I think that the advice to the fresh grads today is that, you know, you need to continue looking for it, right? And it really depends on, you know, at the moment, what is your current situation? Because I do see that there is a good split between Gen Zs or fresh grads. They think that, you know, at one point I am actually looking at basically finding, you know, a job with a salary that can actually, you know, get me started, you know, in life, right? To have enough of a salary to do that. But the other half of, you know, the graduates here are talking about looking for a job that actually connects to their purpose and their belief, right? So it's a good equal portion of it. So it really depends on the background. So for those who are actually out there to look at, you know, potentially looking for, you know, income to support your livelihood, right? My advice is quite general, not just for engineering students, right? Is to actually, you know, be willing to learn, like what, you know, Siti Lim has actually mentioned, right? A lot of basically employers out there are willing to hire somebody with good attitude, you know, who has this mindset, like what Rachel has said, right? Continuous learning mindset and attitude. And that's very important. And that's what they actually pick up. Specifically for engineering grads, you guys need to recognize that, you know, besides engineering jobs, your skills are actually quite transferable, you know, to the other industries as well. So for example, you know, your problem solving skills, your analysis and complex, you know, in complex systems, your communication skills and digital skills. These are, you know, some skills that are, you know, highly sought after across industries. So, you know, for example, banking, tech, or even sales and marketing, you know, don't forgo just because that you think that, you know, these are not what I studied means that I don't want to apply for it. So just go for it. And then from there on, use it as a stepping stone to actually find what your interest is, right? But for those who actually wants to work, you know, based on, you know, your belief system and your purpose, do a bit more research, go into company websites and whatnot, right? Go study their vision and their mission and see whether it actually is aligned with yours. And when you do get an interview, one thing that I also noticed from the engineering grads, especially engineering grads, I don't know why, they don't really speak up as much as compared to, of course, the business and whatnot, right? So you need to ask intelligent questions about, you know, the company, whether, you know, their mission is something that is aligned to yours, right? So that's my advice, basically. Yeah. So that's more on my side lah.
Thank you, Camelia. How about Rachel?
The number one tips that I have for graduates will be continuous learning and be curious. And, you know, you're starting out, don't demand too high, you know, try it out. Okay, you definitely learn. You take home something, even though if let's say you work in an SME factory or in a big company, whether it's for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, with your positive attitude, definitely there is a take home. You will learn something, and that something will be very valuable for you. So as I said, you know, you are young, go out and explore, go out and gain the experience. And later you can want to go for your glamorous, luxurious job, go ahead. Plenty of people will want you. Okay. So that's my tips for you today.
Thank you, Rachel. How about Prof Siti?
Okay.
What's the tips to the young graduates for them to actually embark to their career world?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ng. Okay, to be a good engineer, of course, we know that there are many attributes, yeah, to to have it like a problem solving and communication skill as mentioned by Camelia. So this is an important skill that you need to have for the graduates. And then the critical thinking, the creativity as an engineer, this is also an important part, important skills that you need to have. On top of that also, during the university study, you need to actively involve in any activities created by the faculty or the university, such as like a mobility program, summer program for that. So you can have a bigger exposure to the international level, meaning that mobility to the other countries. So this is very important. This is also can expose you to a real life, and also doing internship, you need to perform well, because during the internship, the company can see your performance, and from there they can book you. And then because you are doing your internship at the end of your 3rd year, so once you finish your final year study, then you can easily go back to the industry, to the same company that you did your internship. And the last one, of course, you need to enhance yourself with the professional skills. Besides the normal studies that you have for 4 years in the university, you need to also join the professional courses that we always organize during the break, the summer break. So this is what the things that the fresh graduate needs to have to be a good engineer. I think that's all.
Thank you, Prof. Siti, and also thank you the panelists today. So basically, based on today the sessions, then we found that basically from the academic institutions, we have to produce more engineers than meet the industry needed. So here I also would like to advertise a bit. SME, we have many collaborations with university. So the employer can come forward to us we can actually link you to the university that in Malaysia that actually you can voice your requirements, what is the problem you face from the high fresh graduate you hires in terms of skill or in terms of other things. So from there, the academic institutions can feedback and improve themselves to produce more engineers that actually meet the requirements of the industry. On top of that, we hear and loud that graduation doesn't mean the stop of continuous study. Especially in technology industry, we need to continue study. HRDC always produce some opportunity to actually retrain, reskill for the engineers. Even you're an engineer, you need to be reskilled, especially after the pandemic stopped for some time. So we always need to have I hear that. We definitely need to have a mindset that whereby we have to continue to learn in order to meet the requirements of the industry, and also to improve our life, to actually to contribute more, to the industry as well. As for the Gen Z, the employers also have to really look into it, how to actually retain the Gen Z and actually talk to them, to retain them, not only to hire them, put in back into the job positions, but to need to continue to actually to work with them, to talk to them, to retain the Gen Z, to actually get both. Either employer and employee can actually together for better growth. Yeah, I read quite some of the questions is still coming in, but due to the time constraints, we cannot answer everyone. However, the organizer will actually compile the questions and pass it to panelists that will actually to answer you from a different medium. We couldn't gather all the questions for this round. Okay, thank you very much. I hope everyone actually benefited from these webinars. We hope actually we can actually organize more of this and actually get more participants to be in for these webinars. Together we improve for ourselves and also for the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SME Association of Malaysia, for having us as well. Right.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a great day, everyone.
you.
Bye bye. Bye bye.